it'll definitely motivate you. I mean, when you're a competitor and you get so close to your ultimate goal, and then you fall short, I mean, it's something that will motivate you for the rest of your career. I mean, it was a bad feeling in that locker room after the game. I mean, you don't want to have that feeling again. And so, we luckily enough we'll have a lot of the same guys back, and we'll obviously add new guys, and we'll set the tone from the beginning of the year, beginning of the off season, that we have to be better. We have to be better than even we were this last year in order to go out there and win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, no cigarettes and Fresca in the locker room at halftime or after this one for the Kansas City Chiefs, although they lost the one where Len Dawson was smoking the cigarette and drinking the Fresca at halftime. That was Super Bowl I. The torment from losing, I think that drives Tom Brady, and I think now that Patrick Mahomes has a dose of that torment, that I never want to feel this way again ever in my life, that can be overwhelming. It can be overwhelming. I mean, when I'd have to look at the full list of Super Bowls. I mean, how many guys have we seen back in the Super Bowl recently who have lost one? Typically, you don't get back if you lose one, right?
Yeah,
Other than Brady,
right?
Who we've established that the torment from Brady has carried him, I think, to more victories. Other
Peyton
than
Manning
Brady,
lost
Peyton
twice,
Manning, right?
Won twice, of course, but
I'm guys in the league now. Who in the league now, other than Mahomes and Brady, have lost one and come back? Russell Wilson hasn't gotten back yet.
No,
and who knows if he's going to? There's something weird going on with Russell Wilson and the Seahawks. You know, they haven't been past the divisional round since their Super Bowl appearance when they lost to the Patriots 7 years ago now, and he's going to be 33 this year. So I'm for Mahomes, my point is this: to get that lesson of his career, because we always have the Dan Marino caveat. Well, there's no guarantee you're ever getting back. Do we really think Patrick Mahomes isn't going to be back at some point? Do we really think at some point over the next 15 years he's not going to be back in a Super Bowl? His point is the motivation that you get from that loss is going to come in handy, and we need to remember that. I hope I'm alive for the moment the next time Patrick Mahomes is getting ready for a Super Bowl, because I think the very, very bad memories of what happened on Sunday could end up being the difference maker for him.
Yeah, it'll make him more obsessive, I think. You know, really, that's what it's going to do, because it is one of those. I've lost one playoff game in my life, played in one playoff game, and it still bothers me in my stomach when I think about it. So I can't even imagine winning a Super Bowl and doing that, or losing a Super Bowl and having to deal with that. And yes, I would think that makes him more obsessive, certainly. And listen, I don't think it's that crap. I'll run that game back one more time. You tell me next year the Chiefs can have their starting offensive line healthy and Mahomes healthy, I'd love to watch that game one more time. Yeah. That'll be a different show. It'll be a different, we got to remember they had to jumble around 3 of their 5 linemen and play them in positions they weren't used to playing in one game the whole year, and it was the biggest game of the year against the best D lineman they played all year. So that really that hurt them. The timing of all of that was certainly, handicapped to a degree there, and we'll see where it goes. But I still think, like you said, the Mahomes, the Chiefs, very relevant, not going anywhere, going to be in the thick of things again next year.
And this is reminding me of a story from a few years ago, and it's not ideally the best example, but I remember Jameis Winston talking about being at the Pro Bowl. And he's at the breakfast buffet, and he's loading up a plate of the usual breakfast food, and he sees Russell Wilson and someone else coming back from a workout. And that's when the light bulb went off, because Jameis was a little doughy back in those days. That's when the light bulb went off for him, that if I'm going to really make something of myself, I got to go next level. Now, and look, I don't want to assume that Jameis Winston isn't going to become a starting quarterback again, but my point is this. Is Patrick Mahomes accepting in the aftermath of this game that he's got to give himself completely to the sport the way that Tom Brady does? If he wants to be Tom Brady, if he wants to establish that legacy of greatness, he's got to do the pliability. He's got to do the avocado ice cream. It's got to be PM 15 to match TB 12 if he really wants to do it the way that Tom Brady is doing it. And maybe what he saw on Sunday and what he's witnessing and what we're all witnessing from Brady is the challenge to all of them. To echo what you were saying earlier, if you're going to ever have a chance to to be the kind of player that Tom Brady was and still is, you gotta surrender yourself to it.
Yeah.
You got to be so selfish about your career, but at the same time, you've got to surrender all of your own selfish impulses of, I'd like to eat that, I'd like to drink that, I'd like to do this, I'd like to do that, instead of all the things that Brady does. It feels like 24 hours a day.
No, and it's not going to be easy. But yeah, it's going to take that type of obsession for him to get to that spot to where, yeah, he's competing with them, compared against them, whatever it is. But it's a different thing altogether. And that's where it's just going to be interesting to go again. Because Mahomes, Kansas City's built around Mahomes, and it's all about Mahomes and his skill set. You know, Tom Brady got the benefit of team and coaching, and I just got to play a big part in this whole thing we do, right? That's where it's going to be a different challenge for Patrick Mahomes. It's more like, hey, Patrick, it's on you. That's the way they play. That's the way Kansas City is. And Brady, he just had to make sure he was able to stay in shape, stay sharp mentally, get ready, and as long as I can run this machine, we're going to be tough to beat. And that's where it's a different animal to me altogether, because more of it is just on Mahomes to do things with his great ability, and not to take away from the greatness of Brady, but hey, you know, a lot of the things we talk about that he's learned and he's done, he was taught by the greatest coach of all time. You know, he's the one that can go. That's the reason he can go to Tampa Bay and go, hey, I think we should do this, this, and this. Let me tell you why. And it's and then it's Bill Belichick and Josh McDaniels coming out of his mouth to Bruce Arians and all that too. So those are the challenges Mahomes is really going to have to deal with. And I don't know if anybody could be as obsessive as Tom Brady with all that it takes to get it done.
Do we remember when it was that the switch flipped for Brady to make him into this cyborg, this football cyborg? When was it?
I'm going to say, I feel like when they got into, hey, we're going to stop playing run the ball, defense, team football, and around that 2006 time, I want to say, in 2007, when I feel like that's when they started getting to, hey, let's ride Brady, the rules the way they are and everything like that, as far as, you know, favoring the offensive pass game. Let's start doing that. And I feel like that was around the start, maybe right around there. But I feel like it went to another level of like health and cyborg somewhere around 2012 and 13, to where it went off to another jumping spot of, hey, I'm psycho and I'm doing everything I got to do. But now I've looked in deeper, and I got to go a little more psycho with my diet, my workout regimen, and all that. I feel like that was around 2013, 14. I don't know. What do you think?
I think that's about right. It was sometime after the ACL tear, and he just all of a sudden he bought into this idea of playing until he's 45, and that my point is, Mahomes has seen that. We've witnessed that. At some point, the guys who truly want to be like Tom Brady are going to have to sign over their soul to a certain extent, their preferences, their lifestyle, and be like Tom Brady if they're going to have a chance of doing that. All right.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.